You ready for this?
I'll do my best.
Your best? Losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and the prom queen.
Welcome to the best soccer show. The best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go. Best soccer show, North American Soccer Network, NASN.TV. Jason Davis, Jared DuBois, Sunday Night Live. We are your pregame for Game of Thrones, right? We're the pre-Game of Thrones.
1 hour out. I mean, as soon as you hit the music at the end, I may not wait till it's over before I leave you and go watch.
So that means that HBO does live both coasts?
Yeah, there's a West Coast. Out here, we have a HBO W, which is West, and like a HBO. I don't know if it's E or just HBO, where it's like the East Coast one.
Right.
So I just told my wife, I said, record the 6 o'clock unless there's a conflict and we can't get away from. Like, who knows what else she's recording? I mean, I don't know. Bridezilla. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what she does.
I'm assuming that means you still have HD because you can't record it.
Yes, I have but here's the problem. So I may have to wait to watch it because even in my house, my TV in my living room is where the sun sets behind it, kind of. So I get a really nasty glare from like 4 to maybe 6 o'clock, somewhere in that range. I may have to wait till after dark. But speaking of after dark, I have a proposition for you. A game I thought of coming home on Friday. I had to actually call you from my car because I was afraid I was going to forget it.
I totally should have. I totally should have ported the voicemail over so I could have played it on the show. But
I think I cussed a few times.
You may have. Yeah.
Okay, so I came up with the idea, and you know this is going to happen. These two things will happen over the course of Game of Thrones, and
in the first episode.
In the first episode. Yeah, first episode. This is a first episode decision. I want each of us to weigh in. Any caller tonight, the first thing you have to do say is 310, you're on the air, and then say the name of the game. And they have to weigh in. If you're on Twitter, we want you to weigh in. Yeah, even if it's it has to be during the show. Afterwards, you're going to know the answer. But in tonight's season premiere of Game of Thrones, Jason Davis, which happens first? Boobs or death? Boobs or death? Which will happen first? Someone will show their rack, female only.
I understand.
Or someone will die.
I have given this some very, very serious thought. Now, I know there are probably some read-ahead people, book series people who already know essentially what's happening right now in the story. They may not know what the scenes are going to be because poetic license and whatever. I've been thinking about this really, really hard. And what I think is going to happen, I'm going boobs, by the way.
Nice.
Going.
I hope you're right.
And I'm going to be as specific as I possibly can. I think we're going to get Khaleesi in an opening scene, like right off the bat, boom,
boob?
There it is. Yeah,
you got Khaleesi boob. You got that's like picking like the Cinderella team in the March Madness. That's the Khaleesi boob.
No, she's a 1 seed, man. I don't think I'm really going out on a limb here. She's a complete 1 seed to get to be there with the boobs and dragons and boobs, as Trevor says.
Okay, Trevor, weigh in. Boobs or death? Boobs or death? I'm going to go with death. And not that I don't want boobs to be the answer. I want boobs to be the answer. But I think it's going to be death. I think there'll be some kind of battle scene. Someone's got to get shanked.
There's such a hedge right there. Trevor's going simultaneous boobs and death.
So a woman that's flashed that's flashing boobs as she's being like skewered by a sword.
She doesn't have to be the death. She didn't have to be the
a topless woman killing someone
or just in the same shot. Like, hey, look, it's here's a scene and here's a woman and here's some death.
Littlefinger's brothel and someone's dying.
How successful would a show on HBO or Showtime or whatever that was called Boobs and Death? How successful would that show be?
Yeah, Boobs or Death is actually I think a really messed up spring break horror kind of film where it's like it's kind of like Girls Gone Wild, but you have a choice. You can show your boobs or you get killed right now.
All right, so keep those coming. Boobs or Death at Best Soccer Show on Twitter. Also 201-430-2378. Rick in Philly's got death. Some people are ignoring our show because WrestleMania is on. You are terrible people and terrible soccer fans. I'm sorry.
That's like boobs are acting. Like
boobs or
boobs or chair.
Boobs are fake chair shot. Yeah, there you go. That's a WrestleMania game. Phone lines are open, as I said, 201-430-2378. We have tons of stuff to cover. We didn't do a midweek show, essentially because USA Mexico was following us. It would have been pointless for us to do a show that night. And that game was on so late for the East Coasters that it made it very difficult for us to do anything. But we're here, and we'll talk USA Mexico. But I think we got to touch on the big news of today, Jared. News breaking on a Sunday. Yeah. When does that ever happen? It never does. Our man Jonathan Tannenwald at Philly.com, backed up by the people at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, have dropped the news that Atlanta to MLS is happening, and it may be as soon as April 16th that we get an announcement about this. Arthur Blank going all in, putting a team in his NFL stadium on turf with the weird bed sheets. How do you feel?
I listen, there's good things about this, there's bad things about it. You and I have been talking about this for going on at least a year or so. I think everyone knew the safe bet was 3 down in the Southeast, 3 teams, Atlanta being the third one. Not too much of a surprise. I'm reticent that it's going to be on turf and it's an NFL stadium. That really feels 1.0 to me. We'll have to see what they can pull off. I don't know that bed sheets make that much of a difference. You're asking me to make a pretty big leap in logic to think there isn't 2 more decks above where you're putting some bed sheets over. You know,
when you watch a game, the example we have, this is going to follow the Vancouver model. Now, BC Place is not as big as this Atlanta football stadium will be, but when you watch a game that's happening in Vancouver, are you cognizant of that place being much bigger than it presents on TV?
No, but I also don't get the reverberating, like just heart-pounding reverberations that I get off the roof of what Jedwin Field. What's it called now? I don't even know. What do they call it now?
Providence Park.
Providence Park. See, I don't do this. I'm going to call every stadium by the name I learned it. I'm never going to change.
Well, before that, it was something. It was P&E Park or something. So it changes, man. Like
I can't keep up.
Okay. All right.
But there's something to be said about the sound that gets lost with something like that.
And I do think that you can sort of tell that it's a much bigger, emptier place in Vancouver. Maybe that's me. Maybe my bias is coming through in how I watch games in Vancouver. But I got you. I understand what you're saying. And I agree that this has a 1.0 feeling. Turf and bed sheets don't make for what I feel like where MLS needs to be. But the one thing I'll say that this has going for it, number one is, well, there's 2 things. Number one is Arthur Blank, who, if he's committed, has the pockets to do something big time in Atlanta. Number 2, the stadium is going to be in downtown Atlanta. And I'm not familiar enough with Atlanta to know if that means the same thing as it means in other places. But it is important to remember that this isn't going to be Foxborough. This isn't going to be 40 minutes outside of the city, that this is going to be in a central location. And I think that it can be done right. Now, there's the other reason that we should sort of believe is what's happening what's happened in Seattle. Can Atlanta be Seattle? I very much doubt it. But if they can get 20,000 and there's bed sheets and the game is right there. I don't know. I mean,
you bring up Seattle, and so you think about Seattle. You think about Portland, 2 of the most recent wow, what am I thinking? Expansions. And one thing I think Atlanta has working against it, and I'm not sure how they're going to play this, is will Silverback fans be MLS Atlanta fans?
You're going to get a mix of
that.
Do
you get that? I mean, but here's the thing. Seattle, Portland didn't have to worry about that. They had a fan base already in place.
Let's make sure that we're being specific and clear here. Portland brought over that Timbers Army field directly from the previous Timbers. The Sounders, pre-MLS, they got 5,000, just like Vancouver. They got 5,000 out to their Starfire Sports Complex, which didn't feel like a stadium in any real sense as far as I can tell. And if I'm wrong, tell me, Seattle. But I don't know that we can. It's not that Seattle had something. They may have something to build upon in a small group of fans. The ECS may have existed before the Sounders joined MLS, but they didn't end up putting 35,000 in Quest Field or CenturyLink, whatever, because of that previous existence. I don't buy that at all.
Yeah, one other thing, I don't know much about Atlanta. I've never been there myself. I know we have a few listeners from Atlanta, so if one of them wants to call in and weigh in on this, I'd appreciate it. But I don't. Another thing Seattle had going for it, by going to CenturyLink or Questfield, whatever you want to call it, there you could walk to the game. It was in a city center. I don't know if Atlanta has that same opportunity or not. I don't know if it does or
let's
doesn't.
Find out. Again, I think that this building is supposed to be in the hub. I mean, in the center or close enough to the center of Atlanta that's not going to be detached from whatever downtown is. Now, my sense is that Atlanta is a very commuter heavy, driver heavy city, commuter city. So
similar to LA.
Yeah, that might change the impact of having the stadium where it is. I think there's a lot of reasons to be doubtful on this, and there's some reasons to be doubtful about Miami. There's reasons to be doubtful about New York City FC. They're happening though, and I think the best thing that we can do as fans, and I'm not saying that the league doesn't deserve criticism if these things don't work out, but I think until we know they're not working, we should be as supportive as we can of those fans in those towns who want to make these teams a success, right?
Can I throw out a possible name for Atlanta?
Sure, go for it.
Just my identity idea for them. Okay, if you may not know this, Atlanta is known as the City of Gates. Okay. So I'm thinking you go full Ghostbusters here. You name the team Gatekeeper FC, and your supporter section is the Keymasters.
Well, okay, I was going to say if they're going to be Gatekeeper FC, then your number 10 is the Keymaster.
You can say, but I just like the idea of like Rick Moranis being in the crowd in the supporters section for the first game or something.
Oh man, yeah. I was sharing a couple of identity ideas that I found because there weren't that many. I was surprised at how few there were out there on the internet for an Atlanta MLS team. Now the Silverbacks already exist, and I know that's a factor. But one of them I saw was Peach City FC because Georgia is the Peach State, and somebody on Twitter
doesn't look for a man's team.
They could be. Oh come on. They could be their supporter section.
I'm always gonna think of League of Their Own, dude.
Okay, maybe, but their supporter section could be the Peach Pit.
I dig that. Don't get me wrong. I dig that. Okay, everyone has to wear sideburns and have a pompadour.
Yeah. 402, you're on the air.
Hi, this is Ezekiel from Atlanta.
What's up, Ezekiel?
There we go.
Congratulations. If this news is legit, and I have no reason to doubt my boy Tannewald, and I have no reason to doubt some of the people in Atlanta at the AJC. So congratulations on MLS to Atlanta.
All right, thank you.
And are you boobs or death on Game of Thrones?
I don't watch Game of Thrones.
Damn!
Oh my God! You hang up on him.
No, I'm not gonna do that. It's Ezekiel's big moment. So what's on your mind, Ezekiel?
No, Jason was asking, or I'm sorry, you were asking if you could walk to the games.
Yes.
No, it's a commuter city like you were talking about. You don't, where the Falcon Stadium is now, you don't really walk, you park.
Okay. And is there going to be any sort of pub scene, bar scene? I mean, I'm not saying that, I don't think Jared's saying that Atlanta needs to be Seattle 2.0 and have a march to the match and do all that stuff that they do. But you want to have some kind of pregame atmosphere around the stadium. Is that going to be possible?
Not sure. Actually, I don't go to enough other Atlantic games to know.
Okay.
I know the Hawks, where they play, that's probably a little closer to like a bar scene that you could walk around downtown. But I know that the Falcon Stadium is going to be a little bit north of where it is now, which probably would be better for that.
Okay.
So it's hard to say.
All right. So let me ask you this: are you I didn't get a lot of enthusiasm out of you. Are you a Silverbacks fan?
I am. I don't go to enough games to really call myself a fan. I go to a few each year. But just on that. What I've heard, though, is when I talk to other fans of, like, the U.S. national team or European soccer, they, most of them say that if MLS came to Atlanta, that they would go to the games.
Okay.
Whether that happens or not, we'll see. But I do hear a lot of that, and some of those people don't even know that the Silverbacks are in the city.
Okay.
Ezekiel, let me ask you one other question.
Okay.
From Atlanta sports perspective, the people of Atlanta, which you're one of, is Arthur Blank. What kind of regard do people have for him as a sports owner?
I think he's very well regarded. I think he's done a great job with Falcons, and they like some of the moves that he's made and the people he's brought in. So he's definitely respected in the city.
This is obviously a big step for MLS, and they're going full on with the Southeast. I mean, I've been treating this as an eventuality for a long time, Jared, and I think most people expected Atlanta to be the next one up. The success of this team, and I put New York City on this list, and if Miami comes through, because let's remember, Miami's not technically in yet, then that's going to be a test of the plan as well. And you want to throw it at the feet of Don Garber, I think that's fair. remember, there's a bunch of owners already in the league who are backing him up as we make these decisions. As the league makes these decisions. So it's going to be tough for people to buy that this was the right way to go if these teams aren't successful right out of the gates.
And do we still have Ezekiel online? Because I have one other question.
Yes.
Okay, Ezekiel, one other question for you. We talked a while back, Jason and I, about the Southeast, trying to get a footprint down there, maybe trying to replicate some of the Cascadia stuff that's going up in the Pacific Northwest. Is there enough rivalry or perceived rivalry or connection between Miami, Orlando, Atlanta to make that a viable rivalry kind of situation geographically? And what is the real possibility of even going to away games for that region?
Yeah, not great, I don't think. I've lived here for 6 years, and the only rivalries that I can think of are SEC, college sports. So Alabama, Florida, maybe, but it is a ways to get down to Miami. I think. I mean, I can get a lot of people driving. For SEC, you do see people carpooling down to Florida games, but you might see some of that. But it is a ways.
Yeah, it's interesting though that at the same time that this is happening, Blank's going to build his new stadium. Thank you for the call, Ezekiel. Appreciate it, man. That Blank's building this new stadium. They're going to put an MLS team in it. The Atlanta Braves are getting ready to move out of Atlanta and actually go north, I think, to one of the suburb counties, for lack of a better description, as they try to kind of follow their fan base. And I don't know. Atlanta's a weird town. I don't want to jump to conclusions, not being a resident and not having an intimate knowledge of the town. I don't want to jump to conclusions and say this is going to die a horrible death or this is going to be a failure. But I think there's reasons that people are questioning this. And again, Blank better put his money where his mouth is and putting a decent team on the field. And that you better hope that gets people out there.
And his money where his blank is?
Sure. And then when people in the summer need something to do, instead of, let's go up to the new Atlanta Braves Stadium, which is no longer in the city itself, let's go out to the NFL stadium, whatever it's called, and take in an Atlanta blank game, whatever they're going to be.
Well, one thing I'm really looking forward to with all three of these teams coming into the league is that there's going to be a lot of potential for more homegrown talent in an area of the country that didn't have a lot of funding going into it. Granted, Florida, it's warm weather state like California, it does have a record of bringing up some players. I mean, Eddie Johnson.
Youth soccer in Georgia is massive.
And what I'm saying now is they're going to have a big money infrastructure about how now a guy playing youth soccer can say, I can get here in so many years. Sure. There's a direct path now, and you can be part of the Atlanta, whatever it's going to be called, youth system. I think that's a really cool thing that's going to be going on in these cities right now. You
kind of bring up something that I'm going to be interested to watch because I have a very cursory knowledge of things down there, but I do know there's a giant soccer scene for youth soccer in Georgia and around the Atlanta area. It may be one of those, fights to the death, back and forth struggles when the MLS team shows up, starts an academy, and starts sucking up some of these players. It's going to be fascinating to watch. You know who's from Georgia?
Who that?
From the Jack
Clint Mathis.
No, well, yeah, but Jack McInerney is from Georgia as well. A product of that area, and he has just been traded from the Philadelphia Union, where he was a star for a brief window.
Look at you go.
You gave it to me. Montreal Impact. For Andrew Wenger, just while we're here, we might as well do this. Give me your impressions. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it.
I think Montreal got away with one here. I don't see how. I think Jack McInerney is let's say this. That's a tough word. I was going to use the word established, like he's an established talent. But I know, but he's done more professionally than Andrew Wenger has at this point. Correct?
That's fair. I agree with that, and I laid this out on Soccer Morning when the trade went down, whatever day that was. Andrew Wenger hasn't had a chance to be a regular starter to prove himself, and maybe he gets that opportunity in Philadelphia, and maybe he's a star, and maybe Hackworth is proven right. But there's some other things at work here with McInerney. People are saying, sort of behind the scenes, McInerney and Hackworth didn't get along. McInerney has an attitude problem. I don't like that stuff. I don't like getting into that stuff. I think that's dangerous territory when you don't know what exactly is happening behind the scenes, and I don't want to put that on McInerney, but he certainly was really, really hot for a little while and then completely cooled down. And you wonder what his ceiling is. He's awfully young to give up on, though.
Well, my issue is more the value of this trade. Let me ask you two questions. One, we just kind of asked to answer already.
Yeah.
Jack Mack has done more in MLS so far than Andrew Wenger, correct?
Yes.
Whose potential is higher in your mind?
I think McInerney's potential
Okay,
is high.
so if both those two things are true, how are they equal value?
Okay, you're right. No. I think that at the moment you would say that Montreal won the trade, but then again, Wenger was a number 1 overall pick who they never really gave a fair shake to, and yeah, he had some positional issues. Where does he play? 352. You're on the air.
Hey, this is Scott from Florida.
Hey, Scott, what's up, man?
Hey, first off, I think death is going to happen tonight.
Okay, death first. He's on the book. Scott from Florida. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, and I want to talk about, I guess it's a little bit off subject, but the game on Wednesday night.
Okay, sure. We definitely have it on the list. In fact, I think it may have been next, so go ahead.
All right. I think the first half was probably one of the most entertaining halves of soccer I've seen since maybe the Bosnia game.
The second half of the Bosnia game. The second half of the Bosnia game.
Right.
Right.
The second half of the Bosnia game.
Where Josie Altidore absolutely tore it up. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Go ahead.
And it was really neat to see Michael Bradley. I think the Mexican coach was saying that he was like the best player from North America or something like that.
No, Herrera after the game said he looked like one of the best players in the world, and I don't think you should take that at face value. I think what he was trying to say is what I think he was making. Essentially, I don't think it was straight up. I think it was kind of.
Or he's saying his team made him look that way.
Yeah, I think it's more of that. I think that he was basically saying Michael Bradley looked really good, but he's not that good. Let's say it that way. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, but I think he was doing really good. And one of the things I've been really excited about is I'm a national team over MLS guy. Okay. So I was kind of disappointed to see all these players come back, but it's neat to see Bradley still doing good and thriving in the MLS, along with Maurice Edu and Clint Dempsey. That was a hat trick. So I guess it's working so far.
Look, I think we went over these factors when these guys made these decisions, Jared. But I think that, and look, one friendly against Mexico doesn't really indicate anything long term, and we don't know how they're going to perform in Brazil. But I think there's certainly an argument to be made that Michael Bradley is benefiting from being a regular fixture, not having to worry about all that drama that surrounds the player selection, the team selection, not having to worry about being the odd guy, the American in the multicultural setup. Like, yeah, he's in Canada, he's an American in Canada. There's a lot of Americans.
I think you're trying to say he's being allowed to focus.
Exactly. He's being allowed to take care of his craft day in and day out, not have to worry about the other stuff. And while that doesn't work for everybody, and some guys absolutely need to be pushed day in and day out to reach their potential, I think for Michael Bradley, and I said this, and I know you backed me up, there is no reason any U.S. men's national team fan should have doubted that Michael Bradley wouldn't still be a really good soccer player when he arrived in Toronto.
Well, I think what you see from Michael Bradley right now is that he's playing free. I mean, he just looks like he's having a kick-ass time out there, and that he can do whatever he wants. I honestly think Ryan Nelson's just given him the keys and said, "Drive this thing." He's upfield, he's backfield. I think he has the trust of his coach to find the best place to be on the field, and that's what you can say about some of the best players at any team. If you look at Federico Higuain, do you think that really Greg Berhalter is telling him exactly where to be at all time? No. That guy floats wherever he wants. Javier Morales, same thing. Mauro Rosales at his best year in Seattle had the same kind of the same stuff. Is he on the left? Is he on the center? Michael Bradley is trusted to find wherever he needs to be on the field until he's proven otherwise that he can't do it. He is succeeding at every level right now, and he looks like he's having the time of his life.
I think Mo Adu has the same kind of responsibility in Philadelphia. I think it's essentially, look, Mo, you're a box guy. Go box to box. Do whatever you need to do. We're going to partner you with Brian Carroll or whoever else to do not the heavy lifting, because Mo's doing that too, but sort of to be your support system, and it's working out for them, and their confidence is high. Now, again, does that make them the best they can possibly be? It depends on the guy. Scott, you got anything else, man?
I just thought it was really interesting, the position that he was in versus Mexico, and more of the attacking role rather than the holding role.
Opened up a huge can of worms, man.
You
that
think
4-4-2.
Right.
In terms of for you and I to talk about, hell yes. Because you have Martin Vasquez leaving, and all of a sudden the formation is gone the very next game, and the guys are playing in different positions.
You know, I think there's easy narratives to pull out of this, and Vasquez being let go or moved or reassigned or however you want to view that is one of them that kind of, you look at it as a domino. Vasquez gets reassigned, they go with the 4-4-2, and they play a diamond, and Bradley's advanced. Martin Vasquez uses the diamond when he coaches at RSL's Academy in Arizona. So this isn't like, I mean, let's not assume that has anything to do with what happened on the field against Mexico. Thanks for the call, Scott. I appreciate it.
You also can't throw it away.
No, I think that this is an interesting wrinkle, and I think that it's nice to see something else develop. I do think that Alexi is probably right in the fact that it's not going to work in the group against teams that are going to dominate the ball and basically exploit whoever is playing at the bottom of the diamond, because you're only playing one holding mid there. You're setting yourself up for a lot of space in front of your back line, and when you have guys running at Omar Gonzalez and Matt Beasler, that's when they get in trouble. So there is there's a factor. I do think that this is something that you can throw on last 30 minutes if you need a goal and push Michael Bradley up there. And it's not necessarily, I read, and I'll full credit to Levi Bird from Sports Illustrated. He wrote a tactical review, and I'm not one of those guys that really gets super involved in the tactics, but he basically pointed out that Michael Bradley in the 4-2-3-1 and Michael Bradley in the 4-4-2 diamond was essentially the same guy. He wasn't doing anything. You felt he had as many defensive responsibilities as he did in the other episodes? Well, if you look at their passing charts, they're essentially the same. I mean, him from a game that was 4-2-3-1, I can't remember what game it was, and him in the diamond, it was essentially the same passing chart. But I think what you end up with is, instead of, again, this was the talking point from the game, it's not so much about Michael Bradley, although he was fantastic and scored the goal. And
about Kyle Beckerman.
It's about Kyle Beckerman and where Kyle Beckerman sits versus what Jermaine Jones does when he's in that lineup. Jermaine Jones wants to go flying around with his head like a chicken with his head cut off. And so
the question begs to be asked then, Jason, if it is late in the game and you're going to switch to this and try a different tactic, do you have to have Kyle Beckerman on the field to do it?
You have to have somebody more disciplined than Jermaine Jones, so yes, because I don't think there's another guy in the setup who can do the same job as Kyle Beckerman. There is there is something to be said for Kyle Beckerman not being a starter over Jermaine Jones, simply because he's not as athletic and quick, and he can't track guys the way that Jermaine Jones can. I wonder what the trade-off is, though, because Beckerman plays smart, he plays simple, and while he isn't athletic enough, again, I think that's an issue. Jermaine Jones is athletic to the point of being not out of position.
He thinks he can make up the space.
Position. He's doing things that I would prefer him not to do. Whether or not Klinsman's okay with it, I don't know.
I would say this: Jermaine Jones is almost the more American of the two, because he relies on physical ability to make up for not being tactically sound. I think Kyle Beckerman's the more tactically sound of the two, to be honest with you. I think his passing is better, his first touch better. He knows where I think he sees the game better. I also think that Kyle Beckerman gives, and this is very important when evaluating Jermaine Jones, especially with how bad U.S. has been on set pieces. Kyle Beckerman gives away less poor fouls in the U.S. half.
Okay, maybe. By the way,
Jermaine Jones is a fouling machine.
Okay, but do you know that Kyle Beckerman holds the record for MLS fouls, like lifetime?
That's real nice. But Jermaine Jones I think holds the record for more stupid fouls.
Okay, no, I don't disagree with you, and again, it's a matter of how much of this is our perception and how much of it is actuality. I think it's true that Jermaine Jones is less. It's not that he's not tactically aware, because I think he is. He's coming from Germany. He's played a long time in the Bundesliga. I think he knows where he's supposed to be. I think when he gets into that U.S. shirt, he wants to be the superhero. He wants to be the best player on the field, and he thinks that means flying all over the place, doing whatever.
Why would a guy think he needs to be a superhero in that U.S. shirt? If you can't see right now, Jason Davis is wearing the new U.S. soccer away kit.
Either way.
And let me just say that. Let me ask you one question right now. You're wearing it right now.
Yeah.
Would you wear it in public?
It's a good question. I just had this debate on Soccer Morning. I don't think so. I think I'm too old to pull this off.
Is it an age thing?
I would wear it.
Who could?
I would wear it at a game. I would not wear it anywhere else. Or I wear it at a gathering involving watching the national team, whether that's a game or in a bar or whatever.
Whereas the home jersey can be worn to any cheese tasting, yacht club, or tennis match.
Yes. The home jersey happens to fly beyond, well beyond the line of not looking good out in public. I'm not wearing this to the Home Depot to pick up some hardware. I'm just not doing that. I'm sorry. And maybe it's not an age thing. I do think kids can get away with jerseys no matter where they are. Little kids. When you hit 25, 30, 35 years old, you're pretty much cooked on wearing a jersey in public, except to a game. Do you disagree with that?
No, not so much. I guess I'm not a guy. Here's the two places I'll wear a jersey: to a game or to my own personal soccer game or something like that. If I'm going to play in one or something like that. But that's the only two locations.
Yes, I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. We're still taking your calls 201-430-2378. Look, there's tons of stuff to talk about out of USA Mexico. Again, the first 45 minutes, some of the best soccer we've seen out of that team. And Jared, I said it before the game when there was no Landon Donovan and there was a bit of a surprise over the lineup with Brad Davis on the left, Graham Zusi on the right, Michael Bradley, Kyle Beckerman. That team was built, and obviously two strikers with Dempsey and Wondolowski. That team was built to pass the ball in midfield, and that's exactly what they did in the first 45 minutes. Pass circles around Mexico, which they don't usually have a chance to do. Now, Mexico changed some things in the second half, and let me ask you, this is my theory about the second half. And yeah, I admit that it might be a shade biased for the U.S. side. But do you believe that in a real game, not a friendly, and let's throw the result out in the first 45 minutes out if you want to because it's a friendly, but do you believe in a real game, Klinsmann sticks with his plan to put on Julian Green and Landon Donovan and make all these changes at the 60th minute and not make a tactical switch if it's a real game? I mean, in that game, he didn't need to. He didn't feel like he needed to. He was going to have his subs on. He was going to play this way. Mexico took advantage of it by making their own tactical switch.
So you're saying would Klinsmann made a sub earlier?
No, what I'm saying is Klinsmann had his plan in place from the minute the game started, right? This is my first
60th minute. These two guys or three guys are coming in. Okay.
And I'm not going to switch. He was already in a 4-4-2. I'm not going to switch up my tactics. I'm going to just continue to play the way we set out. I want to see what we get out of this. So he didn't make any change. He didn't respond to Mexico's changes in the second half, which led Mexico to dominate that second half. Do you believe in a real game he makes changes and makes tactical subs rather than just pre-planned subs?
Yes. I mean, we have to say yes because Jurgen Klinsmann has had incredible success at his subbing techniques over the last 18 months. Right?
I think that's an exciting thing because you watch the first 45 and go, damn, how good are they? You watch the second and you go, well, this sucks. This is terrible.
What was the right sub to make? I don't really know, but I think there would have been one.
But it would have been different. It certainly would have been different in a competitive match rather than a friendly in that second half. And I think they would have been tighter defensively and probably not giving up both of those goals. 562, you're on the air.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Byron.
Hey, what's up, Byron? How you doing, man?
What do you guys think? Get that last forward spot in the U.S. for the World Cup.
The last forward spot.
Or Johnson.
Well, how many forwards are you taking?
Well, I mean, it's weird. What do you count Dempsey as, a forward?
I don't know. Jared, you count Dempsey as a forward?
Yeah, because in a 4-4-2, he's going to play forward, right?
In a 4-4-2 he is, but it's not a 4-4-2 most of the time.
But he may go to it at times, so I think that's why. Listen, Donovan and Dempsey are always listed as a forward in the U.S. men's national team whenever they release a roster. I don't think I've ever seen them listed as midfielders.
I think they finally made that switch with Donovan, but I think you're right about Dempsey for sure.
Okay, let's just say, for the sake of argument, Byron, Dempsey and Donovan are both midfielders, okay? That allows you to take, maybe 2 to 3 straight-up forwards then? So you're taking Josie Altidore and Aaron Johansson, and you're asking who the last one is?
Yeah.
For me, I guess how you taking, what are you considering Julian Green?
I consider him a midfielder, but because he's going to play in the midfield. He's not going to play in the forward. But
okay, if that's the case, then I am taking Eddie Johnson.
All right.
What about you?
I would take Wando just because he's in a better form, but I feel like Eddie Johnson hasn't done anything wrong to lose a spot in the national team.
No,
I mean, look, he comes in,
got robbed of a goal in that game against Mexico. He did kind of muff a chance against who did DC United just beat? I'm sorry, I'm blanking. New England. He muffed a chance against New England this weekend, but he
also scored a goal that should have stood in the Mexico game.
That's what I said. I'm with you for the most part. But Wondolowski, God, man, he's got that thing about him, Jared. It's the right place, right time thing, and sometimes you feel like you need that. And I know he hasn't really proven it against the top level competition. He scored against Mexico. It seems like it's coming around for him. I don't know. Appreciate the phone call, Byron. Thanks a lot, man.
Oh, wait.
All right, go ahead.
Did you guys see Johansson's video that's out there?
Yeah, it's on the list, man. We'll get to it.
All right.
You know your boy Jared will have some comments on that.
Listen, okay.
805, you're on the air.
Hey guys, it's Scott from Los Angeles.
Hey Scott.
Definitely Boobs. I don't be friends with anyone who ever picks death over Boobs.
All right.
So,
all right.
Pretty simple decision.
Okay. Well, but
you're going with your heart then.
Yeah. No. You're saying you want to see Boobs before you see death, and I get that. I get that as a heterosexual
if you're
guy.
putting money on it.
But we're asking you what your gut tells you is going to happen first, not what you want to happen first.
Oh, death will happen first.
Okay, there you go. All right, he's Jared.
Who is it, my friend?
He's pulling for one, and yeah,
that's just that's a statement on life. I think you believe he said death is going to happen, but I'm hoping for boobs. That's just everyone's life in general.
Pretty much day to day. Scott, you got anything else, man?
Yeah, it's a kind of quick question here. I've kind of been thinking about this. We always talk about who the third or fourth forward in the roster is going to be. You know, Johnson, Terrence Boyd, Wando, kind of fighting for that. I know this might be a dumb question, but is there any chance that they take just two forwards, Altidore, Johansson, and then rely on Dempsey and Donovan to be the support? And the only reason I say that is because if you line up in a 4-2-3-1, you have Browdy and Jones the two, and then assuming Beasley is left back, and you have Fabian Johnson, Clint Dempsey, and let's say Landon Donovan in the three behind Altidore, and that basically leaves your subs as Aaron Johansson, Graham Zusi, Alejandro Bedoya, and possibly Nick Diskerud. So that's four, and assuming not, defensive substitute. So that's basically four guys who I would pick over a Wando or Eddie Johnson or Terrence Boyd to come in. So why not take someone like a Breck Shea, Julian Green, or I know Jared doesn't like this, a Brad Davis, or something like that. Someone who provides.
I got a reason for this, and my reason for it is that you take someone else because the likelihood is all those guys, Johansson, baby's borderline, but most of those guys will already be starting right from the top. Who's your fresh legs at striker? 60 minutes into a game.
I agree with this, and while I was on the Breck Shea's going to the World Cup train, not necessarily because I think he's a great player, but just because he's something different, and Klinsmann needs a game changer off the bench. The same thing goes at I do believe you need a fresh forward off the bench, an out and out pure goal scorer, and that's why you take a third. That's why you take a third striker and maybe Johansson is that guy, especially if you start in a one striker formation, Jerry, because Altidore is going to get the start. He goes 65-70, then you bring in Johansson. It changes it up a little bit, but I don't know. I think you take at least three. I don't know how you get away with less than three forwards.
Yeah, I think you take three, and then you can.
Donovan, or you push Donovan
right,
up to the top.
But again,
talent to do that.
Okay, Donovan's role in this team right now is a gigantic question. Gigantic question right now.
But he's going.
No, he's going. Whether or not he's going to be an option to play it forward late in the game, I doubt that very seriously. And Dempsey is going to be starting either in the hole in that 4-2-3-1, or if it's a 4-4-2, he's going to be starting up top. So you're gonna rely on him to be, a game-changing forward from 65-70 on. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, just in terms of his fatigue level at that point. Again, Jared's point is you need fresh legs off the bench that can go in and score a goal. Maybe that's Julian Green. Maybe it is. I don't think we saw enough on Wednesday to buy that, but hey, maybe it is.
We haven't got to talk. This is the first time we've talked since the U.S.-Mexico game. So your take on Julian Green quickly, though.
He was okay. He was a kid making his debut. I don't think you got anything out of that said anything of note. I mean, he took some guys on. He lost the ball a couple times. He made one or two bad decisions, one or two good decisions. It was
absolutely nothing out there to make you change your opinion or really form an opinion on him.
No,
super vanilla.
Yeah. Did you see anything of interest?
No. I saw almost exactly the same thing as I saw when Breck Shea had his first cap.
And it's not really a criticism of him either. He's an 18-year-old kid who hasn't played at senior level.
But I didn't see anything worthy of knocking a guy out of a World Cup spot to keep him either.
Well, again, it depends on who we're talking about. 512, you're on the air.
Hey, guys. I just wanted to say I agree on Julian Green. It was a pretty intense game to throw a kid into. I'm not sure I'd take him to Brazil. On Wando, I love Wando, but I just have a feeling come the group stages of the World Cup, he's going to look like he's maybe not the same quality as some of these guys. So that's why I'm more of an Eddie Johnson fan. That finish he had that the rest took away. I thought that you might not get that out of Wando.
Okay.
But,
all right.
So, yeah, Eddie Johnson's my third forward.
That's a good. Well, okay. First of all, different kind of goals, and this is part of the issue, and this is what Klinsmann has to consider, Jared. What you saw Eddie Johnson do on that pass from Dempsey and the goal that got waved off is not something that Wando's capable of. He's not capable of that same
quick
kind
step behind the defense.
Yeah, he's not going to play off the back shoulder and make that run and be in space and finish to the far post. He's going to be making a crashing run into the box off of a cross or.
And for me personally, if we're having that debate about the last striker to go, for my mind, the last striker's role on this team is going to be a guy that comes in late into games. Yeah. I want the guy that's fast against tired legs, not Wondolowski.
I think maybe what you're looking at with Wondolowski is you need multiple chances in order for him to come out as the type of player you want. Meaning he's going to have to get 4, 5, 6 chances to get one. Whereas Eddie Johnson and yeah, he's quite. Some things are questionable about Eddie Johnson, but in that one moment, his speed. His first step can change the game the way that we saw.
Let me just mention one thing that while we've been talking right now, none of us nor a caller has mentioned Terrence Boyd's name in anywhere in this discussion. So does that just mean we've all decided we've given up on the fact that he's not going to be on this team?
I just think, look, he does replicate some of what Altidore can do, and that you may think you need that backup, but then now we're seeing that maybe you make it.
But even if Josie gets hurt, do you think he's going to start Terrence Boyd? No,
probably not. He'll shift things.
That is why you would want Wondolowski on the team. If Josie Altidore was to go down, Wondolowski is probably your starter in that same type of role. But I don't know. It's a tough decision. Klinsmann's got a tough one, especially if he takes Julian Green, because that's a spot he could take a 4th striker with.
This may be the show. We have MLS that we're going to get to. You got anything else, caller?
I'm going to go Death.
Okay,
and appreciate it.
All right, there you go. There's Death. 508, you're on the air.
Hey, guys. This is Dan in Boston.
Hey, Dan. What's up?
Nothing much. I wanted to touch on the forward debate, but first off, I wanted to get your guys' take. You guys think that Clarence Goodson has officially surpassed Omar Gonzalez?
No.
In the pecking order?
No. I think he's going.
Who should? I'm sorry?
Clarence Goodson, if he's past Omar. I think he's going, and I think there's a chance he starts one of those 3 games depending on what happens in the lead up and how Omar looks, especially in the send-off series. But I don't think he's right now above Omar Gonzalez. And part of the reason for that is while Omar has his slips, and I know that's debilitating and everybody hates it, and you don't want it to happen against any of these teams in the World Cup, Omar Gonzalez is dominant in the air when he's on his game. Dominant. I mean, he's got the size. He's got the ability to control that area, just like Gooch used to. And I think that's a necessary thing. I don't think Goodson's the same type of guy. He's a big, strong defender, but he's definitely not fast, and I don't think he's as good in the air, and I think that's probably why.
Okay, that's fair. I was going to counter that by saying I think Clarence Goodson has proven to be somewhat more error-free.
I don't disagree with that necessarily, although remember that what you saw against Mexico is he got a fraction of the time that Omar got. He got half the time Omar got.
And so, I'll say this, Beasler as well. Beasler had some tough parts in that first half. Beasler made some mistakes in that first half. Granted, they didn't lead to goals, but no one's talking about him. But Beasler had a few missteps in that first half, too, that could have been kind of shaky. Omar, got to find a way not to switch off and set pieces. That is a part of his game. He has to be the most valuable guy on every set piece. If you have that kind of size and the heading ability, he wins open field headers every time. But he can't find a way to not lose a marker on a set piece. That's troubling. It's
not good. I mean, that both of those goals were on him. The first one on the pick with Beckerman, I don't know if you've got to call a switch. I don't know how that works. It's not a basketball move necessarily.
It's a pick and roll.
Well, I'm saying he's got to find a way to crash through. If he has to run through the Mexico player, that's probably better than the alternative, which is leaving Rafa Marquez wide open. Now, you might get a penalty called, but at least you're making the effort. He just sort of stopped when he found the contact, and it really wasn't good. You got anything else, Dan?
Yeah, I did. Do you guys agree that it's either one or the other, Chris Wondolowski or Eddie Johnson at this point?
Yes, I think so.
I think so. If you're going to take that many midfielders.
I think that it reminds me of the 2006 decision between Brian Ching and Taylor Twellman. Mm-hmm. Wando being the similar to Twellman, and that really they're kind of a really scrappy player, gets that garbage goal in front of the net, whereas Ching was so strong in the air, just like Eddie Johnson is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of think that in 2006, Twellman, he said that he didn't go because Bruce Arena wanted to go with more size. And I'm not sure if he would have added anything, but I don't know. I'm starting to think I would take Wando just because he has proven to be in the right place at the right time.
Flip a coin, Dan. I mean, honestly, I'm a guy that, hey, I was a Twellman guy. I wanted Twellman instead of Ching. But Twellman has something bad going for him, something good for him. Bad, he's never got to go to a World Cup. The good thing is he never had to go to a World Cup and not make a difference. You know, it's always going to be greener for Twellman because he didn't go.
The thing I'll say in Wondolowski's favor is that his knack, and it is a knack, it's 100% a knack, and again, maybe it doesn't show up against, everyone's talking about the quality, and then against a good team it's not there, but the guy is constantly moving, and he still has the ability to find himself in good spots, and I think that his previous national team failures, it was more about finishing than it was getting into those spots, and that leads me to be sort of intoxicated by the notion of Chris Wondolowski popping up far post like he did against Mexico when you need a goal in the 83rd at the World Cup. I mean, I don't know if he can replicate
like Ching versus Twellman, and when it's size versus finding balls in the box and being heady. I mean, Eddie Johnson and Chris Wondolowski is very much athleticism versus smarts. One of them's a very smart, heady guy that knows where to be to combine with players and know where to be to find the ball. Eddie Johnson is one of the most athletic strikers we've probably ever made.
Yeah. Navid's on the line. What's up, Navid?
Hey, I have a question that's been bothering me for a while.
All right.
But first, before I get to that, definitely, even though I love Boobs a lot, death.
All right.
Is what's going to happen first.
Death is first. All right. You're in the book as death first. Go ahead.
Anyways, I know he's not getting a lot of minutes right now, but I don't understand why people are so not sure about Kleshchin. I feel like he's a definite on the roster.
I just don't think there's any there's not any space, man. Where's
V? Can you point to a game where he's played for the U.S. national team that he's made a big difference?
That one game before the 2010 World Cup, but I guess you're right about that.
Wait. Are you going back
the one, the HDC game? I think that's the one you're talking about against Sweden or something like that.
The hat trick against Sweden in the Camp Cupcake. No, come on, Navid. You know that one is like.
But that's Kleshchin's problem. He's not been able to stand out.
I agree. Well, let's look at Here's a list of midfielders. This is not my list. This is Stephen Goff's list, but mine's going to be damn close. So I'm going to go with it. Navid, I'm going to say a name. You tell me if Kleshchin goes to the World Cup over this player. Michael Bradley.
Definitely not.
Landon Donovan.
Definitely not.
Clint Dempsey.
Definitely not.
Graham Zusi.
Maybe. I think so. Maybe.
Whoa! You lost me.
Oh,
you lost me.
That's completely wrong. Jermaine,
I just started following MLS like 2 years ago, so I don't know that much about him. I'm starting to like him more and more.
Okay, fine. Jermaine Jones, no. Kyle Beckerman, no. Alejandro Bedoya, no. Mikhail Discaru, no. I'm sorry. He's not going. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 midfielders right there. And yeah, you could count Clint Dempsey as a forward maybe. And Landon Donovan can play forward.
The only guy he even has close to a chance of beating out of any of that is Mikhail Discaru. Because they're very similar types of players, but I think Discaru gets more going forward. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the thing. There aren't enough guys. The spot you're lacking, the coverage you're lacking is at the point there in the line of three, which is where Dempsey's been playing. Maybe Dempsey's not creative enough to play there, but he can push up, become a forward, kind of drift. We'll see how it works out.
And two more guys we didn't even mention, or three more guys we didn't even mention: Jeff Cameron, Fabian Johnson, DeMarcus Beasley, all can play midfield if you need them to.
Absolutely. And then Mo Adu, I think, has rapidly climbed the charts. Over Kleshchin, I don't know, maybe. And then you have Julian Green to consider.
I would be surprised to see Klinsmann take less midfield because he has so many guys in other positions that can also play midfield.
Well, let's talk it's about roles as well. Brad Davis, I thought he was damn good against Mexico in that first 45 minutes. I think I thought he was feeling it. He was part of the.
He's okay. I didn't think he was poor.
I haven't even given you one. This is for your anti-Brad Davis bias. And I feel like I should be offended on behalf of all Davises when you do this stuff. But that's all right. Move on. He's a left-sided midfielder in a group where comes at a premium. 404, you're on the air.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Daniel calling from straight out of Atlanta.
What's up, the ATL,
Hey,
man?
Daniel, I'm going to block you just for 1 second because I need to respond to Jason Davis right now. Brad, like Sasa question, has Brad Davis ever stood out in a game?
No. Again, I think he gets more credit and he moves up my chart. I don't think he's going, by the way, but I think he moves up my chart because he's a left-footed player that can play on the. We just don't have that guy who can go in and swing a ball from the left side of midfield the way Brad Davis can, and his set piece delivery is on point in a team where that tends to lack.
I'll give you that. I will give you that.
Okay, all right.
Sorry, dude.
Daniel, go ahead.
Hey guys, now I was just gonna call in and talk about the LA game. LA and Chivas, that 3-0 game and that goal by Stephanie Shizaki, that was insane.
That was a nice goal. Yeah. We haven't gotten a chance. We got 10 minutes left. We haven't gotten a chance to get to MLS at all.
That's one of the nicer combination goals you'll probably see this year. I think that's the type of goal RSL tries to score. That's the type of goal that the Galaxy try to score. There's not many teams out there in MLS, I think, that can score that type of team goal.
Yeah, no, the second, was it the second LA goal? What was the second LA goal? Who was that?
The second one was
Sidic.
Sidic, I believe, was the third one.
Oh, the third one. Okay, the third one was also nice.
That's the one. That's the one I was talking about.
Yes.
That's the one I was talking about.
Ishizaki's goal was nice. It was a through ball to Ishizaki. He put it away. This Husidic goal is the one that you kind of put on your postcard as we can play some nice football here.
By the way, we got a tweet from our Bosnian friend Joe that Bosnia Joe that made sure we wanted us to recognize a fellow Bosnian Husidic on that and the effort on it.
There you go. You got anything else, man?
No, and Brian Perk had a decent game, I guess, a shutout for LA.
He didn't have to do anything.
He didn't do a damn thing. No, I mean that's all right.
What I'm saying.
That dude had like a mob show up for work job. Like
thanks for the call, man. The phone calls keep coming in. I know everybody wants to talk about the U.S. national team, and I want to do that. But we're not going to touch on any MLS here, and there are definitely a couple of things we have to hit on. Well, first, before I do that, Jared, 30 seconds or less. Tell me what you think of Aaron Johansson getting his junk pinched.
Listen, I'm gonna say if your junk's gonna get grabbed, I'd be kind of stoked for the man that dude had a good handful.
Okay, but
there's a good handful there.
No. Are you serious? You didn't pay attention then, because this was not a grab. This was not like
he got a full handful of sausage.
No, there was not a whole package. This was a pinch action. This was reach.
I'm just saying that I know there's guys out there who have less in their hand.
You know how you're spraying the garden and you pinch the hose and the water stops? That's what he did. He pinched the hose. That hurts.
It hurts. But listen, I just think that my man. Listen, he could have reached and found nothing. Okay,
he could have. So you're saying that's a credit to Aaron Johansson?
I think if you're the Icelandic version of the name Johnson, that's a good thing to have. Like there, everyone's got a big Johnson, a big Johansson.
Whatever that means. All right, last couple of minutes here. Let's touch on some MLS. That Portland-Seattle game deserves some attention, Jared. Best MLS game ever? Close?
It depends what you do. Best is arbitrary. What makes best for you? Entertaining.
I know.
The best MLS played soccer is still the LA New York game from 2-3 years ago, where the first game with all three DPs were on the field at the same time.
That was 2007, dude. That's 5
It was
years.
not 2007 because Henri was here then. Henri was in there for that game, so it wasn't 2007. I think it was like 2000. But I still think that was probably one of the best played.
I see what you're saying. You're talking about different LA. You're not talking about the Beckham LA game at the Meadowlands.
LA New York. No, LA New York in LA. Di Rosario was on New York at the time. Henri. Okay. That was a very, very Keane, I believe, was here for that one. But I think that's still one of the best played games. But I will give you this: one of the most entertaining games ever.
Unbelievable.
Because it had everything. It had goals. It had a good level of play. Wide open, attractive play. It had atmosphere. I mean, there was so much stuff. It checked every box. I don't think it was the most technical game ever played, if that's what considers best for you. But definitely one of the most entertaining, most fun to watch, best advertisements to ever have on NBC Sports.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree with you. And fantastic advertisement for the league. If you care about that part, I don't. I was just entertained.
Great jerseys for Sounders. I love those reverse negative kind of looks. I love that.
All right. I thought. Like, obviously, Dempsey gets the hat trick. That's a talking point for national team fans. I like Darlington Nagbe looked great running at the Seattle defenders. I had a little bit of everything there. And
I think Rudy had a nice little technical finish from just outside the box. Chara, I don't understand how after Chara burns you once from outside the box, how do you not close him after that?
You know, that Jalil Anababa did not cover himself in glory, as they like to say. And that was the indication they were missing Jimmy Chiori pretty bad. Seattle was. And maybe they are a different team if Chiori's in there. And yeah, Chara hadn't scored in like 2 years, and he scores twice in a game. Both of them on just nice shots.
A great turn by Nagby, by the way, too, on Michael Harrington in the corner.
Valeri's goal was fantastic. The ball turnaround goal that he scored.
Zemanski's going to be seeing this for years. I mean, Seattle almost took care of business, and I kind of wonder Portland needed this win. They needed this win so bad. Everything was coming up right for them in a season where they can't buy a good result.
Yeah,
they needed this against their biggest rivalry, and Zemanski really kind of mucked this one up for them.
Yeah, look, I mean that's entirely on DeAndre Edlin's quicks. I mean that thing. Yeah. I mean I thought he had no shot at getting to that ball live, and he got in front of Zemanski pretty damn fast in order to create that foul. All right, 4-4 Portland Seattle, one of the best games, probably the best game of the year. This is going to be the LA. This is going to be the LA San Jose from last year. That's going to be this game, and we're going to be talking about it through the rest of the year, comparing every other game to it. There were a bunch of other games. I think
if that's one of the best games, is the Jose Mari goal one of the best goals of this year, possibly already?
Unbelievable, that goal. I don't even know how. And he scored two. Fantastic. I mean,
Dallas just keeps rolling. I'm waiting for them to hit a hiccup, but I think they're the real deal. I think
it's transitioning us because Mari plays for Colorado and he scored against Vancouver.
I'm sorry. I was thinking about. I apologize. The Dallas number 10. I'm sorry. No. Mari's goal for Colorado. I'm sorry. That is definitely what I meant to say.
Both of those games affected by red cards, by the way. We don't have a time to debate.
Yeah, Horst was that was a BS red card. I'm sorry. I don't think that's a red card offense.
Okay,
yes.
Okay. Let me ask you this though. If you're the referee, I'm not saying it is or isn't right now, but if you're the referee, you're chasing that play or you're 30 yards away in the center of the field, Horst goes in slightly from behind with a scissors action. Don't you think that's going now? Red, maybe not. Maybe you give a yellow because you're not sure. But I'm just saying that from behind with the scissors, I can kind of see where a red starts coming out.
I think a foul yellow card. I don't see it as a red card offense. I just didn't see it as that malicious. Maybe I have the wrong color glasses on. I don't know, but that changed the game for sure.
No, absolutely did, and I think you kind of you take some credit away from Dallas. I mean, they won the game as they should have, but you can't really say that they're that much better than Houston because that game completely. I mean, that red card completely changed the game. I think they scored.
Javon Watson getting 2 goals against his former team as well. 2
goals there. You mentioned Vancouver and Colorado. Jose Mari was the star man there for Colorado. Obviously, the red card there, which was it? I was watching 7 different games. Was it a second yellow for handling the ball on what should have been called a foul in the first place? Is that what the?
I'm trying to remember that one. Honestly, I don't remember that one right now.
And that's absolute insanity. You had Sporting and RSL playing to a scoreless draw, which. Those teams
deflates me. I want to see a good game there.
See, this is styles makes fights, man, and the same thing goes for soccer. And these two teams show up against each other, and for whatever reason, they just play grinder type soccer, and it does. But give Sporting credit; they created chances, and Atanello was
Sporting's the home team right there, and I think they played very Sporting ball in their home stadium, trying to just take the edge off Salt Lake, and it kind of worked in that regard.
Yeah, I don't have time for all of this. Montreal 2, New York 2, the Turf Bowls went up. That's what I'm calling them now. When they play on turf, and there's no Henry, and there's no Olave, and they were missing KO for injury, I'm going to call them the Turf Bowls. They went up and got a 2-2 draw with Montreal. They probably should have won that game.
Yeah, two other games that deserve mention. Columbus, first loss on the year to Toronto. Kind of surprising. I thought Columbus would be able to handle this game, but Michael Bradley picks up right where he left off with the U.S. national team and has a great goal, short, sharp angle. That's a confident take right there from Michael Bradley.
He pointed to his spot, took the ball, and scored it. It was fantastic. DC United gets their first win of the season. New England's looking really, really dicey right now. I don't know what the hell's going on with that.
When you give DC their first win in 8 months or something like that, 15 games. I mean, you're playing pretty poor. Diego Fagundes almost pulled off a bicycle. That was amazing, though.
I think. By the way, watching the highlights, and I need to go back and watch more of that game. I'm less worried about Diego Fagundes than I was a couple weeks ago, but that doesn't mean I'm not worried about New England. And where the hell is Kellen Rowe? Is he hurt? Is he still hurt? I'm not.
I heard he's hurt. Yeah,
he's hurt. So that's why he's not playing. I can feel better about that. But they got to figure something out because you can't go down. Can't lose to DC.
You got to get Kellen Rowe back. Put him in the middle of the field. Push Lee Wynn back out wide where he belongs. And they need to find a real striker because Teal Bunbury is not the answer.
I thought he was okay. I mean, his job isn't necessarily to just score, but yeah, they could upgrade that position. I'm just saying he's not a disaster. Anything else?
Listen, I tend to think if Jack Mack's on the block, the trading block, New England needs to make a move for that guy. Another hot, sexy young guy to put into that. You think about a lineup that has Kellen Rowe, Diego Fagundes, and McInerney in it. I'm sporting wood.
All right, we got to go. Please, ratings on iTunes. We're, I don't know, 400 something. Let's get to 500. Let's do that. Follow Jay Rodius, Davis JSN. Anything else?
Best answer to Death or Boobs, Peter McParland, who said Death by Boobs.
Death by Boobs. There you go. Thanks for listening to the Best Soccer Show, North America's Soccer Network, NASN.TV. We'll talk to you guys on Wednesday. Bye.